Hey everybody, it's Brad from Ellicott City Sovac, and today I am so excited to be able to share with you these new hoops, finally, from Baby Lock. I've got the magnetic hoops. They were announced at the beginning of August, but I literally just got them in, and I have been playing with them all day, and it is really neat. So, in short, I've got both a brand new hoop for the flatbed machines, like the sewing embroidery combos and the flat embroidery only machines like the Solaris or the Destiny or the Meridian or any of those machines like that. I'm going to go through a list, exhaustive list of all of the hoops, or all of the machines that the hoops fit. This is really neat. And then the multi-needle version it's a little bit different, but it's really, really neat too. So I'm going to show you both of these. Now this one they make a 4x4 version of. For the flatbed machine right now it's just a 5x7. And of course they have the large 7x14 one that I made a video on last year. But these are all new. I just got them in, so let's go ahead and take a closer look at them and see what makes these hoops so cool. Okay, so I'm going to do this in two parts. I'm going to do this for the flatbed machines like a Solaris or a Destiny and so on, and then I'm going to go and show you the multi-needle one because they're pretty different. So what is this? This is a factory hoop, meaning this is made by Baby Lock specifically for their machines. It's not a third-party product, and the way that this works is it's kind of like the sashing hoop where it has separate magnets that hold my material to the frame. And what this does is it makes it much easier to hoop something and not get like a wave in it, not get like a rumple that has to be taken out. And I'll show you when I actually hoop something what I mean by that. But these magnets are very powerful. They're neodymium magnets. They're strong enough to be a little scary when you snap it on there. You can kind of hear it really snap into place. They're, of course, not designed to be used without material between them. But I was doing this to, just kind of see how strong the magnets are, and they are extremely strong. So one of the things is that it makes it easier to hoop without getting a wave into your material or a ripple into your material. And another is that the fact that these are not connected to one another makes the whole thing stronger, resist, pulling or, incidental issues with how heavy the item is that you're embroidering, because it's only tugging on one set of magnets when something tugs. And again, I'll show you that difference in a minute. But this slides in just like a normal hoop, and the machine will recognize it as a 5x7 field, and you can go ahead and use it. So let's hoop something with this and see what it is that I'm talking about. Okay, so I have my magnets separated from the frame, and I'm just going to go ahead and hoop this, part of this hoodie. Just have something to demonstrate with. But you put it underneath of the item, and you've got long sides and you've got short sides. So the top and the bottom are these long ones. And what you can do is you can kind of smooth out your fabric before you put the magnet down. They have little arrows that actually show you the right way. I put that one on backwards. But you smooth the fabric out before you put the fabric down to make sure that you're not getting any waves in there, and the fabric stays relaxed in the hoop. So I don't have any kind of rumple that's being developed. Now, if we do the same thing with another brand magnetic frame, now I'm going to use a dime snap hoop monster, and don't get me wrong, I love these hoops. These snap hoop monster hoops are great. They're great for a lot of things. But when you have one big piece that is the magnet, number one, it's a little bit more unwieldy to deal with, especially if you don't have really strong hands. Like, I can separate this if I snap it down onto the bare metal, but a lot of people have trouble doing that. And so when we go to hoop this same thing, if we get this in here, and it's not totally smooth. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see, move the camera a little closer here. You see how I've got this pinched area here? There's not much I can do about that other than re-hoop it and make sure that I get it straight. So if I try to tug on it, to smooth it out, then I'm actually stretching the fabric, and that's going to cause a problem. It's gonna make it pucker. So what you ought to do is literally take the hoop back off and redo it so that it stays straight. I think that it's easier with this. Even if I start with it rumpled, I can smooth it out as I go. Where's the bottom? Oh, guess it would help if I use the right one. I really think that with this, even if I start with my material fairly rumpled, it makes it easy to get your hoop. Where's the bottom of this thing? Right there. So I've only got one at a time. So if something pinches, then I can smooth it out without having the entire bulk of the magnet in the way. So here we've got kind of a rumple that's built up, so I'm just gonna kind of move it a little bit, and then here we'll smooth that fabric out like that and like that. And I think, yeah, I've got one of my magnets stuck to itself. There, nice and smooth. I mean, it's almost impossible to hoop something with this and have a wave introduced, just because of the nature of the doing it in stages. You end up with a much more smooth area. So that's one thing that is nicer, is even just on any, like a flat piece, it is easy to get your material hooped. But what if what you're hooping isn't flat? You know, how many times is it, if you're doing embroidery on clothing, are you doing it in just like the perfect spot where there's no complications? So this is where this hoop also really shines. Watch this. If I wanted to hoop, let's say I wanted to, the area that I wanted to hoop had something like this zipper in the way. So right now, say I wanted to embroider something right here. Well, if I want to hoop this, there's a zipper right in the way. With this hoop, yes, I can feel that this isn't as strong because it's going through this zipper, but every single other one of these pieces is going to magnet just as strong as it did when I wasn't doing something weird like having this zipper in the way. So we go and we do that. And I'm just going to attach these where they go. Remember, it's got little arrows on it that show you the right way. That. And then over here, we're on, well, I guess I'm not in the seam there. Let's see, one more magnet. But right here, we've got a little bit of a complication. But that's okay. It still holds really, really well. I don't have any issues with it trying to slip. I'm holding on to the hoop here and pulling. You can see that it doesn't go anywhere no matter what I do. Now, let's see what happens if I do that with the single piece magnetic frame. What happens is, because this is all one piece, when I put this on here, the fact that, let me move it up a little bit to make it more fair. The fact that the zipper is pushing up on this edge of the hoop makes it the top of the frame, makes it almost impossible for all of these magnets to touch where they're supposed to. And so this just falls right out, because of the fact that the zipper's in the way. And it doesn't have to be a zipper. It could be the seam on a denim jacket. I've had that happen to me when I was using a magnetic frame before, have it pop open because of the seam being in the way, and I had to hoop it a different way. But you can see that if I hold on to the hoop and pull, it's very easy for it to become unhooped. And that's not, that's not to say that these hoops are bad. These hoops are very good and useful for a lot of things. But for that, it's just not as good. So for basically the same reason, it's also stronger than having a single piece when you're hooping something that's fairly thick. So to simulate that, I've got this little quilt piece that I have. It's got pretty thin batting, so I doubled it over. So this is 2 layers of batting and the fabric and everything. So it's just two layers of quilt just to simulate having a thicker batting. And when I put this on here, it is you can definitely feel that the magnets aren't holding as much as when they were just going through one layer of material. But it's still holding very, very well. So if I go in and attach these like this, we can see that, again, I'm going to hold onto the end of the hoop and pull. We see that it doesn't go anywhere. It's still held very, very solidly, even though it's so thick. And if you look close, you can see the individual magnets flexing a little bit, but because they're not, like if I'm pulling on a diagonal, say, I can see this pulling up a little bit when I do that. But because the rest of them are not being affected by this one moving, it overall holds very well. Now let's do it with the other hoop just to compare. So get my snap hoop monster in here, and it's on there, and let's see what happens if I hold onto the hoop and pull on the quilt. The whole thing moves very, very easily. Okay, so again, it's not that these are bad. These are really good. It's just that this is a little bit better, and it's brand new. I really, really like this. So now, as of this moment, this new hoop is available on most of the current generation and last generation Baby Lock sewing and embroidery combo machines, as well as the flatbed embroidery only machines. So that I'm going to give you an exhaustive list of every machine that this hoop works on. This works on the, in alphabetical order, the Ariel, the Altair, the Aventura 2, the Destiny, which there's a caveat there, the Destiny and Destiny 2, the update is not yet out that makes it work on the Destiny. I think they said that it would be out next month in October, so that's pretty soon that you'll be able to use it on the Destiny and a Destiny 2. The Flare, that's the new machine that replaced the Flourish 2. The Flourish 2, the Journey, the Meridian, the Pathfinder, the Solaris and Solaris 2, the Spirit, the Unity, the Vesta, that's the one that just came out and replaced the Aventura 2. And all of those machines that it's compatible with, if you put it on your machine and it doesn't recognize it, that just means that you need to download the latest update from babylock.com and put it on your machine. So that's the flatbed machine. Now let's talk about the magnetic frame for the multi-needles. It's really, really awesome. Okay, this thing is wild. This is the most powerful grip of any hoop that I've ever used, bar none. This thing holds the fabric like you would not believe. The way that they did that is they're using these magnets that are extremely strong. You can look under there. There are these bar magnets. It's the side of the bar magnet, and then it's going straight to the bare metal on the hoop here. It's in an L shape, and there's 4 of them. So you get that same ability to kind of flex a little bit and the rest of it still hold that we get on the flatbed machine, but the magnets are just an order of magnitude stronger. This thing is extraordinary. Watch what happens when I hoop this canvas bag. All right, so the first thing you do is to take the magnets off. There's these little levers on the side. If it didn't have these levers, you would never get these magnets off of here. But it's very easy with these. You just flip this up and it comes off with almost no effort, okay? So these just pop off just like that. Very, very easy. And then this part flips up, and this is kind of like a clamp that's putting extra friction against the item that you put in this hoop. So we're gonna put this in here. And in real life, it's actually easier to do this on the machine than it is to do it off of the machine. But I found that with the lighting over there, it was kind of hard to see what I was doing. So we're going to go ahead and put this in. See, I'm going to flip the handle back behind it here. And let's say I wanted to embroider, well, I guess I wouldn't embroider right here. We'll say we wanted to put a little bit of embroidery right there. So all we got to do is line up the magnets with the spots that they go, like that, and like that, and like that. And now this thing is held in an iron grip like you would not believe. Now watch this. I'm going to pull on this as hard as I can, and it is not going to budge. No joke, I am really pulling there. It is that powerful. This is the mightiest mighty hoop I have ever seen. They make this in a 4x4 as well. So there's a 5x7 one, there's also a 4x4 one. So there's two different versions of each hoop because you can either buy it, like the one that I have here in my hand, came with the piece that attaches on the machine. Here, it looks like this. So if you've ever used a clamp hoop, it's a very similar piece that attaches to the machine. And the hoop is gonna snap into this. Now, I'm gonna show you on my machine how it goes on. It's just, I wanted to show you the hooping in the better lighting here. So let's go over to my 6-needle and I'll show you how attaching this to the machine goes. Okay, so to get this on here is pretty easy. You just have to take off your frame carrier, these two smaller thumb screws. So this is the carrier that holds my normal frames. I'm going to take that off, and in its place, we're going to put the frame carrier for the magnetic hoop. It'll really only go on one way, and we go ahead and screw these thumb screws back in. There's one. There's the other. And then what we want to do is we're going to take the frame and slide it and just push straight back into that little carrier, and it'll snap right into place all on its own. And now I can go ahead and hoop my item. So I just slide it in like this. I'm gonna get this handle out of the way here. Slide it in, get it to wherever I want, level wise. And I just put the magnets on, one at a time. There. There. And there. And that is held absolutely tight. Very cool. Now, as for compatibility, it's very easy to tell whether your multi-needle is going to be compatible with this hoop or not. If it's a 10 needle, it's going to be compatible. All previous versions of the 10 needle are going to be updated to be able to use this hoop. If you have a 6 needle, as long as it is a 6 needle with a vertical display, then it will be compatible with your hoop. The only ones that are not going to be compatible are the very oldest ones that are, they got to be pushing 15, almost 20 years old at this point, that have a horizontal screen. The screen goes this way instead of this way. Those are not going to be updated to be able to use this hoop, but everything else you will be able to use it for. So that's pretty awesome. I mean, that's going back pretty far. They're updating these machines to be able to use this hoop, and I'm glad that they are, because the hoop is awesome. I will use this hoop all the time. It is the strongest grip out of any embroidery hoop I've ever seen. So that's it. Those are the new hoops. They are really cool. I hope you enjoyed watching and learning the way that they work and why they might be of use to you. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.